So I decided to do this series of videos on hips and just health in general. And one thing I want to portray in this video is that we need to be doing a lot of movements that we've stopped doing as we get older. You know, when you're a kid or, 10 or 12, we're not shy, we're crazy, and we're not worried about what other people think of us, and we will do any kind of silly movement that we're in the mood to do. But as we get older, we get peer pressure and things that are deemed childish. We just stop doing them even though they're very healthy for us. So this first exercise is heel to toe walking, and maybe the only time we end up doing it as adults is when the police pull us over and they want a sobriety test of some sort. However, it's a really good balance exercise, and you can see that I'm not I don't have perfect balance or anything like that, but I was surprised when I started doing this a few weeks ago that it was as difficult as it was, and I feel it should be a little easier. So it's something I wanted to it's something that I have added into my workout routines, or not even my workout routines, just when I have a free moment here and there. You can do 10 or 20 steps in your house or wherever you live, or here I am at the gym and I just want to show these to everybody. So I think they're really well worth doing, and just reminding your brain and your body that you can move in all these different ways. And I think each little movement that you do helps your hips, helps your knees, helps your ankles, helps your sense of balance. And I think it's really important we get back to these movements every now and then. This one here is heel walking, and if you're doing tibialis raises, recommended by the knees over the toes guy, then you'll recognize this kind of movement. Here I am running on my heels, and it's a kind of a fun and challenging thing when you're running just on your heels. So that's another good movement for your legs and your shins and tibialis muscles. Here I am walking up on my toes, and being able to stretch up and get up on your toes is very important too, for your calves and all that. So recommend everybody add these movements in. Make a list, write them down, and every once in a while get at them so your body remembers them. Here I am running up on my toes, and when I go outside and jog, I run a lot on my toes. I don't always slam my heels down. Now here's something I do a lot, walking backwards, but you do have to be careful, especially if you're going outside. You got to turn around often enough, not just look over your shoulder, but I physically turn around and walk forwards for a few steps and make sure there's nobody coming or there's not a dog coming. And yeah, definitely if you're going to run backwards, you better know where you're going and what's behind you all the time. So maybe start off indoors, and as you get a little more confident, find a route outside or a park where you can do it safely. These standing leg hip swings are really nice to loosen up the hips. You get up in the morning and everything's a little stiff. These are kind of a neat little movement. They'll also challenge your balance. So I've added these in, and I like them just as a quick warm-up. Of course, make sure you do both legs. And also, if you find it's a little difficult, bend the leg that you're standing on just a little bit, and you'll find that you can flip your hips around a little farther. So okay, so here we have curtsy lunges, and I saw another video where they were called peacock lunges or something like that, but I think curtsy lunge makes sense. And I like to do them stepping forwards and stepping backwards. It's a nice hip opener for sure. You can go as low as you want. I think an important thing to do is to take your fitness and mobility very serious. You know, we tend to write down things like recipes or vacation plans or all that, and then we don't take enough time to write down our exercise and mobility routines, or different exercises or ingredients, we could call them ingredients, to our mobility and health. You know, write them down. If you haven't got to the certain kind of movement in a month or so, you know, get back at it. Just write down a list and then go through them all. Now here we have a little karaoke running. This is a common drill in any kind of sports warm-up. Really good. Now it might be a little bit difficult to do in a house or an apartment, but you can do it. You know, even if you take 4 or 5 steps in one direction and then flip back the other direction. This is a great thing to be doing all the time. This winter has been particularly cold here in Canada, and even though I'm close to Toronto and not that far north, I know my walking outside has gone down a lot, so I've had to work hard to make sure I keep up a lot of mobility exercises. And of course, skipping rope is great. Now, I have a problem in my apartment because my ceiling is only about 8 feet tall. So what I do is I just fake skip in my apartment, but every time I get out into a gym or outside, I always like to do some skipping and maintain some kind of jumping ability. And I had a hip injury for the last month or two, and doing Nordics, and it was difficult to get back into skipping, but now everything seems to be okay. So strongly recommend you try and skip every once in a while. And then here's the other kind of skipping, track and field skipping. And this just makes me happy when I do this. And I know a lot of people look at me when I'm outside and I've got a route that I go through a park, and I always make sure I do track skipping. And I get lots of funny looks, but it's so fun to do. And it's in 6/8 time, by the way, which is a nice shuffle beat. So it's just one of those fun things you can do. And side shuffles too. When I go for a walk, I incorporate track skipping and side shuffles and all kinds of things. So I'm not just doing forward walking. I also incorporate backwards walking in my outdoor walks. So my walks have all kinds of activities involved with them. And I even do some sprinting, not as fast as I used to, but I like to stretch out and get my legs stretched out and, you know, get going as fast as I can. So I think that's something, you know, if you can't sprint, you know, you want to work up to it. You don't want to go through life and keep on losing these abilities that we had as a child and, you know, as teenagers. So that's one of my goals, is to recoup as many kinds of movement and mobility that I used to have as a teenager and athlete and all that kind of stuff. Now here's something I recommend everybody do if you can find a way at all, is to do some kind of sledding. You can see here I just bought a mat at the Walmart and bought some moving straps and just put this little rig together so I could use it at the gym here. And one thing that's really great about sledding is I'm never sore after, no matter how hard I work. Now here I'm just doing a couple of plates. I like to get up to 3 plates, and I used to do 4 plates, but my little mat is not strong enough, so I found other things to do. But if you can at all, find a way to sled, it'll change your life. And here I'm doing some Patrick steps, and you'll notice I'm not doing too well on this day here. My hips were really tight and I just couldn't seem to get flowing very well on this. But I decided to show it anyway because, you know, there's so many videos out there and people are doing things perfectly. It's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to exercise while you're not at your best. And I just thought that, hey, I'm going to show it, and I'll just have to live with it. But Patrick steps are really good. They're a precursor to being able to do a pistol squat, which I can't do, but it's definitely one of my goals, is to work towards being able to do a pistol squat and strengthen my legs, which have got a little weaker because I've been focusing on mobility and flexibility, and I've decided now I've got to get back into strengthening my legs. Here I'm up on a riser, and you'll notice I grabbed a couple of PVC plastic pipes just to help keep my balance a little bit, and use whatever tools you have to get the job done. And I also find if I'm going to a different, like a further range, higher or wider or whatever, I like to use PVC pipes to keep my balance, and it's a good stepping stone into a higher level of ability. So don't be afraid to use little devices to help you get to a higher level of ability. One thing for sure is don't be shy, and don't let pressure from people watching you stop you from doing what you want to do and what you need to do. Don't let anything stop you from doing the things that your body is telling you that you need to do. Okay, I got over it a long time ago when I decided in the middle of COVID that I was just going to exercise and do things my way and find a way to gradually start. One thing I've been thinking about a lot is why people don't exercise, and I think one of the biggest things is transitioning from not moving and not exercising to exercising is too big a leap for a lot of people. You know, they're tired, they've worked hard all day, and I'm going to put out a video on how to transition from just not being in the mood to exercise to starting in a very gradual, slow, non-threatening way that is so easy that it actually feels nice and cozy and comfortable to start exercising. I think if you can find a way to do that, you'll exercise more often. It's like going outside for a walk when it's really cold. If you can make the transition from inside to outside very smooth and not too harsh, and the way I do it is I put on lots and lots of layers. So I kind of know when I step outside and it's cold, that cold air is not going to get into me, and I'm going to feel good. And so my mindset is it's going to feel good when I get out there, and it's a lot easier to go for walks on cold days. And likewise, if you're not in the mood to exercise, but you have found a method to just gradually ease into it. If you can find those methods to do that, you're going to exercise a lot more and you're going to feel a lot better. So yeah, I'll be doing a video on how to transition from not moving to moving. And here is one of the best exercises you can start doing is knees over the toes. You can see my knee is pretty far over my toe, and the ATG lunge squats, and I like to pulse down there and flex, get my hip flexors really flexed out and stretched and warmed up. And then I like to do a bunch of lunges here. I think I do 4 or 8, I forget how many I did this day. And but once you get down there, do some pulses, stretch out the hip flexors, and then do some reps. One of the best exercises you can do. And it's great for your balance too. As you can see, I lost mine there for a second. I think I'm going to lose it here again if I remember correctly. Get down there, get your position, and then as I'm indicating there with that little hand pat, stretch out those hip flexors. And you can do this with weights too. It depends on what kind of mood I'm in here. I'm just recording. I knew I was going to record, so I wasn't worried about getting into a lot of heavy weights or anything like that. Not that I do heavy weights, but I do use dumbbells, sometimes up to 25, 30 pounds. And nothing like Mr. Knees Over the Toes guy though. But you want to add these into your mobility exercises for sure. And you can start as high as you need to. You can start with, I used to start with 6 risers, so as high as a chair at least. I did do it on the floor the day I recorded this, but I decided not to use the footage for it because there was other people around. So anyway, there's my thoughts on this, and I hope that helps you, and yeah, that's it for this one.